Hey, hey, y'all. It's Casey and Tamara. To say we're not on, but I'm going to keep rolling with it because usually it's okay.
Recording. Yeah.
So a lot of y'all know I am out of town this weekend, so we are not at the studio, or not this weekend. We're in a week. During the week, we are at a. It is the beach, so it's fun, but it's also work stuff too. We are at a mastermind with lots of my creative friends, and Tamara is just one of those. So you might be watching this on the Pzazz page, or you might be over on her page today. But we're going to give you just this fun little. Day 9 we are on from our lettering and devotions book. So if you have not heard of this yet, this is our freebie that we are giving away. All you have to do is text the word me, as in you're saying me. Just text the word me, M-E, to 1-334-249-1818. So that's 1-334-249-1818, and that's going to be in the comments too. Text that to us, and you will get the downloadable copy of this so that you can have it yourself. What it is, just for the newbies, I know if you are on the Pzazz page, you may have been seeing this, but today we're also over on the Southern Endowment page. We teach hand lettering. And so for years, we have offered these traceables where people will trace over like their word of the year or whatnot. Well, this year, we wanted to do it a little bit different. We wanted to take our traceables and combine them with scripture and with a devotion so that people can take that piece and play from lettering and kind of have another layer of meditating on scripture too. So we're just walking you through every day at 10 a.m. Central. We are doing this with you. So we're going to do it today with Tamara. She is a newbie. She just got her copy, so she has not done any. So she'll be doing this new with you. So first of all, I'm going to just read our scripture, go through the devotion, and then we will have fun lettering. So Psalm 62, 1-2. Truly my soul finds rest in God. My salvation comes from him. Truly he is my rock and my salvation. He is my fortress. I will never be shaken. Shaken. When you hear that word, what do you think of? When you hear the word shaken, what do you think of? When I think of when I most recently felt shaken, it was for sure March of 2020. Maybe that's the rest of the world too. Along with the rest of the world, right? We had a full calendar of classes and events going on at the studio. One by one, events would drop. People were scared to get out. And then came the forced mandate to close our doors and go home. My mind was racing. We had money on reserve to get us by and to pay our employees for a little bit. But how long would this last, I wondered? If we can't work, how are we going to continue to pay rent, pay our employees, have money to do anything? I remember walking out the back door of the studio and locking it up. I was with Haley, our studio manager, and we knew we were going home and we wouldn't return to normal for a while. I remember telling her, don't worry, we're going to be okay. She's a natural worrier. I saw it all over her face, and I felt as a leader, I needed to calm her. And I said, don't worry, we're going to be okay. But my insides were screaming, are we going to be okay? I was shaken to the core, and all the what ifs ran through my mind constantly. I couldn't sleep, and when I did sleep, I had nightmares. I was shaken. But here's the thing. Now that we're on the other side of that, I see how God was right there with me the whole entire time. Why do I doubt his provision? We were able to take our studio more to the online space than ever before. We even started being featured on the Crayola Facebook page during that time. So that meant instead of our kids' art lessons just reaching our local students, they could now go to kids around the world. God was with us and provided, and we are so grateful. So yes, I was shaken, but now I have that memory to draw on to remind myself in the future to not be shaken. We have a God that always provides. And what my big takeaway, our thing that we're lettering today says, I will not be shaken. Well, that's a easy thing to say. It's a real hard thing when you're in the middle of something to do. But what I think is the key, I think remembrance is the key. So remembering how God has been faithful before, like me remembering, like I had to close our studio doors and didn't know what in the world we were about to do next. Remembering how God took that and was with us the whole entire time, and how even, like I was saying, we were then able to reach more people through the online space than before. He provided. He was with us the whole time. So remembering how God has provided before helps me with other situations where I tend to feel shaken. And so I just encourage you, today we've got a lot of this blank space under where we're going to letter. You might want to just write down times where God has provided, where you've, that can be just your key to remembrance for times in the future about not being shaken. So that's our devotion for today. Do you have anything you want to share on that, or you just want to get to lettering?
The thing that came to my mind when you were talking about that time wasn't really when everything shut down, because for me, that was almost like a relief period as a mother. Suddenly we didn't have to rush off to baseball practice. We had time for quiet. But when I did suddenly start to feel shaken was when we found out the kids couldn't go back to school in the fall. Because as a mother, you look forward to the end of summer when the kids go back and you know, your routine gets back to normal. And without my routine, I'm definitely shaken. So it definitely made us grateful for being able to go to work and being able to go to school. And my kids now don't complain when they have to go to school. They're actually grateful they get to go to school. So it was a good thing for us.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Well, let's get to our lettering. So we are just using, if you are new to downloading these, we just use like Crayola markers, or if you have Tombow markers, don't do anything fancy on this. You need something with a broader tip, because these are a little bit fatter lines, if that makes sense. So do you want to take your pick of which colors you want?
Sure. Ooh, I want this turquoise.
No, they're fun. Fun colors. All right, so to use these traceables, you start by just simply tracing. That's all we're going to do. What color do I want?
Did I pick your favorite?
No, I just am trying to think I want to do a couple of colors. I'm trying to think which two colors I want to do together. I think pink and green.
See, all right. I don't have as much problem tracing the letters. I guess my problem is the embellishment. I have a hard time like coming up with cute embellishments. So I'm hoping you can give me some ideas.
Let's figure out this camera angle.
Okay. Well, go ahead and do yours, and I'll just show mine. Like, you teach the lesson, and I'll try to follow along.
Okay. Well, there's not a whole lot of lesson, but you can scoot in if you want to. How about that? Okay. All right. So we're just going to trace to begin with. Oh, and I got a little bump. That's okay. When you are tracing these, don't worry if they're not completely covering the gray. They totally don't have to be. We're doing one stroke at a time. Yep, you're looking at it upside down. That's okay. So we got the S. On this H, notice that I did this line. Then I'm going to do this one. So we have two separate strokes for one letter. There's my next letter. Okay, you will hear me repeat this often. One of the common mistakes is thinking that you have to write like you did in cursive, to where you are showing, to where you are never picking your pen up.
Sorry, I jumped ahead and started on the
You're
easy
totally
part.
fine. Totally fine.
I did the easy part. There's no, thickness to these, so I'm just like, I can just do this.
Yeah, it is. And that's the thing. It really is. This part is very mindless. You don't have to think too hard about how to form things. But what's happening is your hand is getting that muscle memory to where it's not a hand thing. Like your hand can letter this. So now it is just figuring out how to get your brain to tell your hand what to do. So go ahead and trace that, and I'll be doing the other one, and then I'll come back to thickening of the downstrokes and such.
So it just trace the basic shape.
Yep, just trace the basic shape.
I got off the line.
That doesn't matter because it kind of looks like a drop shadow or something. Okay. Now notice too, this is a pattern you've seen often. We have two different types of fonts. So we have this cursive font down here, and we've got the just straight, tall, and skinny plain font at the top. Okay, so swapping up our font is one technique that we use a lot. Another technique is changing the size. So not only is the font different, but our size is different too. This whole big space has one word for shaken. It also has I will not be, okay, because these are smaller words. So we've got two different styles of fonts, two different sizes. All right, so we've got that on there. I'm going to go back to whatever color I'm going to thicken the downstrokes. One thing I like to do, Tamara, you can just take it or leave it.
Yeah.
Yes, I just changed. I was with the green.
Gotcha.
So I like to add a little teardrop on the ends of mine, just sometimes. It just makes it look a little bit something. And then on the S's, it's tricky. I usually go on the inside here and then on the opposite side there. Now, Tamara letters on door hangers all the time. So she is not a super newbie to lettering. She does it all the time.
I'm better with a pencil or a marker, though, than I am with paint. I'm more confident with a pen or a pencil.
And I think that's how a lot of people are. And that's why most of our projects that we do inside our lettering club are with a Posca pen or some sort of something you can hold. We do teach brush lettering, but it is a lot. It's a little bit harder.
There have been times when I wanted to create something on my Procreate app, and I'll draw it out with a piece of paper first, and then take a picture of it and import it into Procreate. Procreate.
All right, so I'm going to kind of pick this up just for a second. So you can see where I thickened those down strokes. Now, I could leave it just like this, or I could fill it in. Either way.
I like the way your K has that little swoop in it. My K's always look really awkward, but this is really
the little, or the top K?
This right here where it fills in that extra blank space.
Right, that little loop we do on K's, we do on H's. Anything that needs that little extra something. And see, that very thing right there, y'all, are stuff that you pick up on as you're tracing it. So Tamara may have looked at this and not have even hit her that this K was any different than what she's done before. But when you are tracing it, you pick up on little bitty things like that. So a couple of reiterations. Swapping up the font, swapping up the size, we've got a little bit of a bounce here. Notice that the S is down here, the H is here. So we got a little bit of bounce in our letter. And then also the I will not. So then for embellishment, you just do whatever.
Drop shadow, that's nice.
Yeah, we did the drop shadow. We just done some randomness. Sometimes you can just outline the whole thing. You got
that's beautiful.
Flowers, swirls. You don't have to be. I'm going to I think I'm going to do dots and kind of curves.
I think I want to try something that looks like sort of like what an earthquake might look like, kind of bouncing across there.
Oh, that's good for the shaking part. Maybe I will do that too. Maybe this might look like it actually. I might change to a different blue.
I love this lime green. This is fun.
Yeah, I don't really love that. And I may just stop here. Like I could just keep going, but I'm just going to stop here. And then what you are supposed to use this space for is two things. So like Tamara, if you wanted to give this a try of just lettering it by looking at it, that is one way to reinforce that muscle. That takes it from, okay, my hands did it here. Now my brain has to work a little bit down here.
So if I'm going to do that, do I write the I will not be first?
You write shaken first. You're going to write your big.
And maybe try to keep it towards the bottom so I have room.
Yep. Another option, if you didn't feel comfortable doing that, you can also use this blank space for just for like journaling out your prayers, journaling anything that kind of comes to mind as you're doing the devotion. You're doing good, Tam.
I think I'm also going to try to, I don't know, do a little bit more of my style, but also,
and that's totally fine. Yep.
I have trouble with the connections, so sometimes I stop the connection and then bring it up because I don't know if that's the right way to do it, but it's
just
like
because you're not sure how high.
Yeah, or I'm not sure if I can bring this over far enough.
Yeah,
I don't know.
So one of the techniques that we teach on lettering is copy, cover, compare. So when you're tracing, you're copying it, you're copying it, you're copying it. And then if you want to come down here and you can copy it some more, so she's still copying it just in a different way. If you want to take it to another level of really getting it into your brain, go to another piece of paper, cover this up completely so you're not looking at it. You might have to do this a few times before you do that. Cover it up so completely. Then try to do it as you are not looking at it, and then compare your two, and you can kind of see where the gaps are. Like, oh, I forgot how to do that K. I need to remember, I need to remind myself how to do that. So copy, cover, and compare. It's one of our things that we teach inside our lettering boot camp. If you like doing this kind of stuff, I will tell you, I've told you how to get this free downloadable, but we also have a workshop coming up March 1st through 3rd. That's going to teach you a little bit more with lettering, but also some painting on a board. We're going to drop that link in the comments too. It's a really nice piece for home decor or gifts. It's a lot of the colors that are very on trend right now. So check the link in the comments or at the top of this post. Might be up at the top of this post. And that starts on March 1st. So if you like this, you will really love this 3 days of being immersed with other ladies, painting, lettering, plus we're giving away about $800 worth of prizes. I can't believe it's that much, but today when we added it all up, it was $800. So look at there. So, so there we go. Fun little way to use hand lettering. So there you are. Again, if you want your own copy, just text the word "me" to 1-334-249-1818. Thanks for
this was fun. And I want to say, if you enjoy painting with me, the project she's doing on March, what is it, next
March
week?
1st.
March 1st. Is going to be right down your alley. I shared about it on my stories today because I was like, you guys got to see this. So I just think it's so trendy. It's going to be a big seller for people who are wanting to sell them at craft shows or just decorate their home.
We hope so. When we went to market this year, that's one thing we were doing was just looking at colors that were trending in the home, that were coming up, and those were the colors that we saw over and over again. So we purposely chose these because it's a little bit of a new color palette. It's not just the traditional shabby chic. It's a little bit of color, but of a kind of a neutral at the same time.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'd love to see y'all. See ya.